Do you ever stare at the moon and wonder what it is or where it came from? Or why it's so shiny and bright? I mean, check it out. It looks like a giant light bulb. Oh, hey there. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Jet Space Jammer. This baby has me catching air all over the universe. It's an intergalactic supersonic jet board. No better board for jamming through the solar system. Today, I've been moon hopping. There are lots of moons in our solar system, but I'm just jetting around the Earth's moon today. I'm gonna scan it with my solar power Mega Data Wristatron. I like to know what I'm jetting around in space. My Wristatron will tell me everything I need to know about the moon. Dudes, do me a favor and pay attention. I'm gonna ask you some questions later about, well, duh, the moon. You know, from here it really does look kinda like cheese. Cheese. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's scan this baby. Hey, Megadata Wristatron, let's start with some basic factoids.
Basic facts.
Let's see. Our moon is... Whoa! 239,000 miles from Earth. If I space surf to the moon, that's the same as me jetting around the Earth 10 times. Even though it looks pretty big in the sky sometimes, the moon is way smaller than the Earth. So like, if the Earth was a basketball, the moon would be a tennis ball. Look how it glows. You'd almost think there's a giant light switch on the moon or something. Yeah, right. The moon doesn't light up itself. The sun does. See, the surface of the moon reflects sunlight. And where the sun's rays go, you're gonna get a glow. Check it out. Not only am I the gnarliest space jet boarder in the universe, I can rhyme. My Mega Data Wristatron says the moon is over 4.5 billion years old. Can you imagine a piece of cheese that old? Ew. Although, even an old moldy piece of cheese on a cracker, cheese. Sorry, I must be hungry. Anyway, the moon wouldn't taste good on a cracker because it's made out of rock. You ever tried to eat a rock on a cracker? Not too tasty. So where did the moon come from? Well, according to my Wristatron, there are a few possibilities. One is that it just appeared. Like, maybe the moon was somewhere else in the solar system, and the Earth's gravitational pull pulled it in, like a giant magnet. Kinda cosmic, isn't it? Some scientists believe that the moon was formed when gases and dust mixed together until it became rock solid. Another theory is that the moon is really a piece of the Earth that broke off billions of years ago. Which reminds me, don't you just hate it when you're dipping your cookie in milk and it breaks off? And you end up with some soggy thing in the bottom of your glass? I hate that. Okay, dudes, ready to answer a couple of questions? Question 1. The size of the moon is A, almost the same size as the Earth, B, bigger than the Earth, C, unknown to scientists, or D, much smaller than the Earth. Question 2. The moon looks so bright in the sky because A, it creates its own light, B, volcanoes on the surface spew glowing lava, C, it reflects the sun's light, or D, it reflects only the Earth's light. Question 3. The moon is made of A, rock, B, gas and dust, C, rock and ice, or D, rock and water. Question 4. Scientists think the moon may A, be a piece of the Earth that broke off billions of years ago, B, have been pulled from space by the Earth's gravitational pull, C, have formed when gases and dust mix together, or D, all of the above. Okay, how'd you do? Let's check your answers before we go check out the moon's surface. Question number 1. I asked you about the size of the moon. If you answered D, much smaller than the Earth, you got it. Question 2. The moon looks so bright because C, it reflects the sun's light. Question 3. The moon is, if you answered A, rock, you rock, baby, because that's the answer. Get it? Rock? You rock? The moon's made out of rock, get it? Okay, question 4. Scientists think the moon may A, be a piece of the Earth that broke off billions of years ago, B, have been pulled here by the Earth's gravitation, or C, formed when gases and dust mix together. The answer is D. Those are all theories. Let's get out of here. I want to show you something.
Phases of the moon.
Just like I'm always moving around the cosmos, the moon is moving too. I jam all over the place, but the moon has only one path, called an orbit. Check it out in my wristotron. See? The moon moves in 2 ways. It orbits the Earth, and it spins on its axis. The moon takes 28 days to go all the way around. But dudes, get this. It takes 28 days to spin on its axis too. No, seriously. The Earth spins on its axis in 24 hours, but the slowpoke moon takes 28 days. I don't want to brag, but my jetboard goes way faster. As the moon orbits, the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth. Think of it like a mega huge eyeball that's always staring at us. Pretty cool, huh? Actually, that kind of gives me the creeps. You may not want to think of the moon that way. Now, while the moon is orbiting the Earth is moving around the sun, which is way, 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 way bigger than the Earth. It takes our planet a whole year to make it around the sun. I told you before that the sun is what lights up the moon. Have you ever noticed that some nights the moon looks round? I mean, like radically round? And then other nights it looks like a sliver. It's because of the sun. Check it out. The sun shines on the moon as it orbits around the Earth. As the moon's position changes, we see different amounts of the moon's sunlit side. So its shape looks different to us. The different shapes of the moon are called phases. When we can see all of the sunlit side of the moon, it's a full moon. Fast forward a few days later. The moon is moving along in its orbit. Now, we see a little bit less of the moon's lit up side. Instead of a full moon, we see a gibbous moon. Almost full, but not quite. The moon keeps traveling until the gibbous moon looks like a half moon, and then a crescent. Eventually, we can't see any of the moon. That's a new moon. The phases never stop. The new moon slowly reappears as a crescent, then a half moon, a gibbous moon, and finally a full moon again. So, in the 28 days of the moon's orbit around the Earth, these are the phases we see. Full moon to gibbous to half to crescent to new to crescent to half to gibbous and to full again. Dude, that's a lot of phases. You know, I went through this phase where all I wanted to eat was cheese. Oh, wait, I'm still in that phase. Cheese. Oh, sorry, back to the moon. When the moon is going from darker to brighter, it is waxing. Just like when you wax your board and it shines more. But when the moon is getting darker, it's waning. Waxing. The moon is getting bigger and brighter. Da-da-da-da-da! Yeah! Waning.
The moon is getting smaller, weaker. Oh no.
Now, every so often, the Earth gets in the way of the moon's sunlight. The Earth's shadow covers the moon, causing pigs to fly all over. Just kidding. When the Earth's shadow covers the moon, it's called a lunar eclipse. They last about an hour and a half and happen about twice a year. Admit it, for a second you thought pigs really were going to start flying. Oh, never mind. Let's see if you were all in a question answering phase. Get it, phase? We just started talking about phases of the moon. Question 5. The path the moon takes around the Earth is called A. Lunar route, B. Phase, C. Location, or D. Orbit. Question 6. The moon travels around the Earth and A. does not rotate, B. rotates very slowly so the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth, C. rotates in the opposite direction of the Earth, or D. none of the above. Question 7. It takes the moon blank to circle the Earth. A. 28 days, B. 24 hours, C. 365 days, or D. 28 hours. Question 8. When the moon is going from a crescent moon to a full moon and appears to be getting larger each night, it is A. waning, B. rising, C. waxing, or D. setting. Question 9. These drawings represent the phases of the moon in 28 days. The phase that is missing is the A. full moon, B. crescent moon, C. gibbous moon, or D. half moon. Okay, how'd you do? Did you space out? Or did you remember the answer to question 5? The path the moon takes around the Earth is its D orbit. 6th question. I asked, the moon travels around the Earth and B. rotates very slowly, so the same side of the moon is always facing the Earth. Number 7. It takes the moon how long to orbit the Earth? A. 28 days. Question 8. When the moon goes from a crescent moon to a full moon, it is C. Waxing. And question 9. The phases of the moon in 1 month. The answer was B. The crescent moon is missing. You're probably thinking, whoa, what's the big deal about the moon? Well, the moon has a pretty rad impact on something that covers most of the Earth. It's oceans. Haven't you ever wondered what produces all those righteous waves surfers like to catch? Or why the tide goes in and out and in and out? Dude, it's the moon. Check it out on my wristotron. The moon has a gravitational pull. That's a force that keeps the rocks and dust on the moon's surface from floating off into space. The moon's gravitational pull actually pulls the Earth's water towards it. Talk about a wave machine. This creates 2 bulges of water, one directly under the moon and another on the opposite side of the Earth. Areas of the Earth where the water is bulging experience high tide. Elsewhere, the water drawn away to feed the 2 bulges causes low tides. As the moon orbits the Earth, the bulges of water follow it. Most areas of the Earth see the tide rise and fall 2 times a day. Enough already about the tides. Let's jam to the moon. Before we land on the moon's surface, I want to show you something. See how the moon has no clouds around it or anything, like the Earth does? That's because the moon has no atmosphere. So you can't breathe down there. Yeah, so, don't go down there without an oxygen tank and spacesuit. According to my wristotron, the moon has 3 kinds of surfaces. Take a look. All over the moon, you'll find, surprise, dust. Scientists call moon dust regolith. It's really powdery and in some places way deep, like almost 50 feet. The bright areas called terrae are the moon's highlands. Yeah, so they're higher than other areas. Get it? Highlands? They're higher? I know what you're thinking about those dark patches. You're thinking, cool, the moon has an ocean, and surf's up, dude. Right? Wrong, dude. But don't feel bad. Ancient astronomers thought the same thing, that the dark areas were oceans. They even named them Maria, which in Latin means seas. The Maria is actually old lava. Billions of years ago, asteroids hit the moon, causing big craters. Lava seeped through the cracks and filled the craters. The lava dried in dark patches. The 2 biggest Maria are called Mare Orientale and Mare Imbrium. Space rocks, like asteroids, have caused craters all over the moon's surface. Because there's no atmosphere, nothing stops the asteroids from crashing down. Earth's atmosphere causes most asteroids to burn up before they hit the surface. Let's go in for an even closer look. See how different the moon's surface looks from the Earth's? With no atmosphere, there's no air, no water, no plants, no life. And also, hear that? No sound. There's no air to carry the sound. The sky here is pitch black. We're looking straight out into space because there's no atmosphere to block our view. This wouldn't be a great place to camp either. During the day, the temperature climbs to 225 degrees Fahrenheit, and at night falls to 274 degrees, below zero. Remember, I told you how the moon spins much slower than the Earth? Get this. The moon turns so slowly that the days and nights each last 2 weeks. Can you imagine having a slumber party on the moon? You'd be trying to entertain people for 14 days. You'd also be a lot lighter on your feet. Because the moon's gravitational pull is so much smaller than the Earth's, you feel weightless here. I weigh 120 pounds on Earth, but only 20 pounds on the moon. It's like the miracle moon diet. Eat whatever you want and weigh 10 pounds. Hey, it could happen. Ready to answer some questions? Cool, here we go. Question 10. The ocean tides are caused by A, the Earth's gravitational pull, B, the moon's electromagnetic energy, C, the gravitational pull of the moon, or D, the moon's magnetic pull. Question 11. The moon's sunlit side is A, extremely cold, B, extremely hot, C, volcanic, or D, unstable. Question 12. Although ancient astronomers thought the dark areas of the moon were oceans, they're actually A, black ice, B, tidal waves, C, dark tundra, or D, lava beds. Question 13. The area of the Earth directly under the moon experiences A, high tide, B, low tide, C, tidal waves, or D, riptides. Question 14. The sky appears pitch black on the moon because A, the Earth blocks the sunlight, B, there is no atmosphere, C, the moon orbits the Earth, or D, the moon spins on its axis. Question 15. The gravitational pull of the moon is less than the Earth's, so you would blank on the moon than you do on Earth. A, way less, B, way more, C, way the same, or D, none of the above. Okay, let's see how you did. Question 10. The Earth's tides are caused by C, the gravitational pull of the moon. Question 11. The moon's sunlit side is B, extremely hot. Question 12. Although ancient astronomers thought the dark areas of the moon were oceans, they are actually D, lava beds. Can you imagine sleeping in a lava bed? That would give me nightmares for sure. Question 13. The area of the Earth directly under the moon experiences A, high tides, dude. Not to mention some righteous waves. Question 14. The moon's sky is pitch black because it doesn't have B, an atmosphere. Remember, dudes, you're staring straight out into space when you're on the moon. And question 15. The moon's gravitational pull is smaller than the Earth, so you would A, weigh less on the moon than on the Earth. Whoa, check out the time. I was supposed to meet my buds on Saturn like 20 gigablasts ago. Well, dudes, it's been cosmic exploring the moon with you. This is Jet Space Jammer signing off.